I'd like to tell all my fellow Americans about an experience that I've just come from a place called the Barrytowne Training Center for the Unification Church, which breaks the spirit, or tries to break the spirit of all.
This is the Barrytowne, New York Training Center of the Unification Church. The Unification Church and its affiliated organizations operate in more than 40 countries. Moon's goal is worldwide, to establish a heavenly kingdom on earth, to drive out Satan. Satan is everywhere, ready to possess your body and mind. Moon has that drilled into his converts, and it serves to control them. If they disobey Moon, if they leave the Unification Church, they will be possessed. Moon calls himself Reverend. His followers call him Master, work for him without question, and do whatever he says. The followers are told that Moon and his wife are their true parents, and they must be obeyed, without question. Moon has never said in public that he is the ultimate Messiah, but his Moon, by the way, speaks almost no English, so we have used a translator to read some of his private writings. His writings are titled Master Speaks. Last February, Moon married 1,800 couples in a mass ceremony and gave them Moon's blessing. It symbolizes their purification from being born in Satan's world. 150 Americans received it.
Master speaks. When you are blessed in marriage, you women must be absolutely obedient to your husbands.
There are a number of rumors about Moon's sex habits during his earlier days in Korea. But now he preaches strict celibacy for unmarried followers, and he makes it difficult to get married. A couple who wanted Moon to marry them would have to wait 3 years for Moon's blessing and another 3 years to consummate the marriage.
Master speaks, I'm planning to get hold of worldly wealth.
Cult leaders know how to make money while saving souls. Moon is no exception. He is wealthy, particularly so by Korean standards. He says his several businesses and factories in Korea are worth about $15 million. Moon's followers are employed in them for relatively good wages. One of Moon's factories is a supplier for South Korea's army, and Moon himself is close to President Dictator Park. In America, devoted Moonies work the streets, selling products for the profit of the Unification Church. A lot of things get sold, including Moon's blessing. He charges a fee for what he calls the condition of the blessing. For Americans, it was $400 each. In Moon's church, the poor are not blessed unless they got that way by giving it to Moon. In this country, Moon enjoys a $600,000 personal mansion near New York, 2 limousines, 2 yachts. For his followers, Moon can do no wrong. He acts on God's authority. He has told them so. Moon says God told him what to do in a series of heavenly visions, starting when he was 16.
Master speaks, Satan is everywhere, and you are vulnerable to his attack.
It is Moon's version of the fall of man that outrages Christians. Satan, Moon says, physically seduced Eve, and ever since, mankind has been under Satan's dominance. Christ was sent to earth to marry and have perfect children, but Satan won that round as well, so the job must be done by a new Messiah. At Barrytowne Training Center, 100 miles from New York, the divine principle is drummed into followers 18 to 20 hours a day. Good versus evil, God against Satan, over and over and over. Arlene Reber of Queens, New York, spent 10 days at Barrytowne and never had an idle moment.
Every minute of the day is planned, well planned, from like 6:30, 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. Every minute. There is no free time.
Neil Salonen, president of the Unification Church of America, believes commitment is important.
It may be true in a training program that there's, a full schedule of activities, therefore people may feel that they don't have any time by themselves, but then they may leave. They're not held at the training program.
In every element of our life.
Miss Reber tried to leave twice. She was not physically held, but she was pressured.
We had a little meeting with about 8 or 9 of the leaders, and we sat around a round table, and it's like interrogation. Why do you want to leave? It's like, removing a baby from its womb before it's born. All the things that led you coming here are God working to bring you here, because He wants you to hear this new and wonderful truth. Now, are you going to just turn your back on God? You might get killed if you go back. Satan is going to attack you.
The Barrytowne method has been called brainwashing, but psychiatrist Robert J. Lifton calls it mind manipulation. Either way, Miss Reber found it oppressive.
But if you want to call it like heavy indoctrination and suppression of any thought process, that's what goes on there. That's what was happening to me. That's why I felt like, got to get out of here. It's crazy. They're trying to take over, not let me think, making me feel that I shouldn't think. So in other words, you should be a robot.
Master speaks, I am a thinker. I am your brain.
Newcomers are gradually made to believe they are getting God's word, being saved from Satan.
After you have your lectures, you have a little meeting and you talk about your lectures, and it's all, mediated. That's just it. Everything is mediated by someone who's got all those answers for you.
Despite the pressure, Arlene Reber left Barrytowne, but many people, including her boyfriend, were converted.
I think it's a lot based on fear, a lot based on guilt with the whole thing with Satan, and also based on the fact that it's a very logical theory. We really have answers for just about everything.
Master speaks, every political and economic situation in every field can be solved based on the divine principle.
The longer the stay, the heavier the indoctrination into Moon's plans.
Master speaks, our strategy is to be united into one with ourselves, and with that as the bullet, we can smash the whole world.
Unity and obedience, particularly obedience.
Master speaks, even if you have to be beaten or driven out to the place of death, if you are ready to obey your true parents in utter devotedness, then you are sure to go the heavenly course.
Followers must be prepared to die for the cause. Shirley Turner of Warwick, Rhode Island, spent 14 months in the cult and used to hear Moon at Barrytowne.
He used to say, he says, I can baby you. He says, I can do one of two things. I can baby you, or I can make you soldiers for God. One of our theme songs was Heavenly Soldiers. So he says, which do you want me to do? And we scream at the top of our lungs, push us, push us.
The pressure is severe. A local hospital admitted 4 cases of hysteria from Barrytowne in 4 months. Bill Genetasio ran away from Barrytowne and wound up at the hospital, diagnosed by Dr. Ernest Giovanoli.
He had an acute psychotic reaction, manifested by confusion. His thinking was completely disorganized. It was irrelevant, irrational, incoherent initially when he came into the emergency room. He was terribly frightened of an experience that he had had.
Genetasio was interviewed after 12 days in Rhode Island Hospital.
Near the latter part of the 7-day workshop, and I had an experience where I thought I was going out of my mind. It was what they termed it a very spiritual experience, because they felt that I was very spiritually open, and I was very tired and very fatigued, and I don't know if something was put into my food or not. That was a possibility also, but I thought that I had been taken over by Satan.
Genetasio is still under psychiatric care. Another Barrytowne resident became a bizarre suicide. 23-year-old Bill Daly of Elmont, Long Island, had been a member of Unification Church for 4 months. He wandered to this spot on the Amtrak line, took off all his clothes, lay face up, his arms outstretched, and put his head on the rake. A spokesman for the Unification Church told Daly's family that he had been taken over by an outside force, presumably satanic. New Yorker Steve Pucci lives at nearby Bard College while still an associate member at Barrytowne.
There were times when I used to go out of that place running. I couldn't take it no more, you know.
I saw many kids during lectures, they would stand up. One girl stood up and she says, "Satan, get behind me." And she was really frantic. They took her out of there, but that night when we were going to sleep and she was lying in bed, and I'd seen the movie The Exorcist, and it was just like it. She was chanting, "God is love." She was just chanting. And then this other woman started screaming because she had been in a mental asylum, she said, and this was just like it. And all these kids left and right were doing this. And they would take them away. I don't know where they took this girl. I never saw her again.
We have no evidence that drugs are used for mind control purposes at Barrytowne. Also, there is a consensus that people are not physically held at Barrytowne against their will. However, one member did say that people had been held if possessed by spirits, and that a Korean woman at the center has the power to determine who is possessed and who is not. And the church finds something of value in them: money, fundraising, selling. Outside the training centers, they travel and live together and work 18 to 20 hours a day.
Working with the Unification Church.
Oh, I'm with it. That's the Christian Unity part of the Unification Church. Well, it's not a selling process. Our members describe either a particular program of our church or general activities, and they ask people to give a donation in return for something which is tangible, which would inspire people to want to contribute to our cause.
John and Robbie Kalaluka were engaged at Tulane University, joined the cult together to be married by Moon, but were drawn apart. After 9 months, they were deprogrammed and married. They remember fundraising.
They didn't tell you to say outright what you were fundraising for, Reverend Moon, the Messiah, you know. They told us to keep it under wraps, to say we were a Christian youth group, to say we were raising money for a youth center in the community, or drug abuse, or something like that.
It's a Christian interdenominational group working for God and deepening an understanding for young people.
We tried, at least in our state, for the most part, to stay away from just saying we were a drug center, an outright lie. We'd say that we tried to help people with drug problems, but this was a lie too. It was lying by omission.
What happens to the money?
Oh, it goes directly into the church to work with activities that we're doing, working in prison reform and
really?
Yeah. Drug rehabilitation. We're working directly in New York now. You didn't have to say that much because when someone stops 10 minutes, or 3 minutes for a traffic light, you just say, "Hi, I'm working for a Christian group. Would you like to donate?" And you hold the flowers in their face. And they hear Christian, they hear donate, and they see flowers, and they go, "Oh, my wife," are like, and pass it out the window.
Master speaks, in flower selling, most the women excel the men.
There's good money to be made in the streets. The tally sheet shows an average day for a small team. The Moonies who sell don't keep a cent. It all goes to Unification, and Unification wants every cent it can get.
I met a few people that have made so far, people my age, that have raised about $200,000 for the church, individually.
The money, however, is never used for anything really to benefit the public. They use it for their own rent, their own transportation, their own bills, to send it international, but they don't use it for any drug program or anything like that.
Master speaks, if white Americans cannot do the job, I will raise the black members and shame you white members.
At Essex County, New Jersey Prison for Women, Unification pays inmates 35 cents for each granarium they make. The granariums are then sold on the street for as much as $5. Unification says it hopes to build a center near the jail to offer released inmates a home. and presumably convert them. Other converts, like Margaret Finger of Larned, Kansas, often gave their own money.
I did give them money that I was supposed to be using for my college education. There was a certain degree of pressure because it was like, we don't have any money, you know, and you have this money in the bank. Because we're so believing in the purpose of the group, we're willing to give them anything that they ask.
Master speaks. Every one of you should have at least 3 spiritual children of your own who would be ready and willing to die with you.
So the creation is sad, and God is sad.
Spiritual children, converts, can be found on the street. So when Moonies aren't making money, they try to make converts. On city streets, it's a team operation. Some to spread the gospel according to Moon, others to latch on to anyone who stops to listen.
We can liberate man's heart from his grief and sorrow.
They want to get passers-by into a quiet conversation, then a lecture. It's gentle. Ex-members have said they got a feeling of brotherhood from their initial contact with church members, a feeling that was later reinforced by communal living.
Where did human life originate? How did it begin?
The feeling may be brotherhood, but the goal is conversion. The lecturers need spiritual children to win high marks from the master. If you can be talked into it, the next stop could be the Barrytowne Training Center.
Understanding the origin, the purpose, the direction of life.
Many of the converts come from college campuses. Moon is represented there by CARP, Collegiate Association for the Research of Principles. CARP is legally separate from Unification Church. Ethically and morally, they are the same. At this CARP meeting, listeners were invited to dinner at a Unification Church center.
Tonight, sponsoring a dinner. It's at 4016 Davenport Street, and we'd like to invite communities if you'd like to come.
Another Moon College fun organization is New Education Development Systems at the University of California at Berkeley. Bob Cantillo of Paramus, New Jersey, was approached while strolling in Sproul Plaza.
I was on my way to California, and I stopped in Berkeley to visit a friend of mine. Friday, I went to the campus to check it out. You know, I'd never seen a campus before. And I was walking around, and I was approached by a young girl named Poppy.
They're really great houses, lots of different kinds of people, you know, not just in schools and all kinds, and living together. There's no, we created ourselves, no tied into anything institutional or anything like that. It's basically people living together, working together, got a farm, some businesses, and it's really a neat kind of life, you know.
It's the familiar routine. Dinner and a lecture at an old fraternity house on Hurst Street. Then a weekend at the 600-acre farm 100 miles north of Berkeley called International Ideal City. It's soft sell, first education, then Moon.
It was about a month and a half before I heard any mention of Reverend Moon and or Unification Church.